Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. I almost forgot about this morning. That is not a good thing. I was just about to ask Pat how your dog is. Glad to hear, Stella, that everything went well. So a couple thank yous this morning, which is why I was saying I'm holding up the thank you card. First, want to thank everybody who I want to thank Alan Carlson for doing the morning prayer yesterday. I hope you guys got a chance to watch it. Allowed me to keep an appointment I had to keep, and so you'll probably see more, hopefully, of some of our elders in some of the morning prayers, trying to get our elders to do that. And I know I shouldn't say it that way. That sounds like I don't want to. There are technical challenges to making all this happen. It's not as easy as just pushing a button. So I'm grateful to Alan for doing yesterday's morning prayer. Appreciated it very much. Appreciate what he said and the fact that he was willing to do it. And then also another thank you for all of you who helped in any way with the police meal that we did. We delivered on Tuesday of this past week to the Allentown Police Department. And I wanted to chat about that a little bit. There's something I've been learning about myself. Yeah, he was, Estelle. I thought he did a really good job. Although most of the guys aren't entirely comfortable or confident, I'm sure that it can be done. And that they'll do a good job. And Alan did a really good job. Yeah, I know that he's also recorded a few more that I'm sure we'll use at some point. So yeah, I wanted to thank all of you, everybody that helped with the police meal. And I want to talk just briefly about something that I have been learning about myself, probably about human beings as well, over the last couple of years. And one of the things that I've started to recognize, I have been a Christian, been part of church all my life. And one of the things that I've started to recognize about myself and about us Christians is that a lot of times we do good things, like the meal for the policeman. We do good things, and it's really more about ourselves than it is about the good that we're doing. And that kind of lends itself to the idea of sometimes it's like, we'll just get it done. And if there are obstacles, we get annoyed. And if we don't get a thank you note, it bothers us. And I've been thinking about this lately, really, as I've learned this about myself, that a lot of the good things that we do, that I do, the motive is really more about me. It might be, trying to get rid of some guilt for, whether it's true guilt or false guilt, trying to just get rid of some guilt. It might be a sense of duty, like this is what I have to do. Or it might be a sense of, for some people who are really activists and really engaged, it's like, here's the next thing that I need to do. Or for some of us, it's kind of that, I know that if you're Catholic, you talk about Catholic guilt. If you're evangelical, you talk about evangelical guilt. If you're Baptist, you talk about Baptist guilt. But it's kind of that guilt that gets laid on us in church. And really, it's false guilt that gets laid on us in churches, that we're just never quite good enough. And we always got to be doing the next thing to make ourselves good enough. And so we do these things, then it's really more about ourselves. And that's something that I have learned about me and about church the last couple of years. So I've been really working on trying to ask myself, what's the purpose of this thing that we're doing? So with the police dinner, I know that for those of you that expressed any involvement, I don't even know if you read the emails, but I know that I had sent out an email to people trying to say, look, our goal with this is to connect with the police officers. It's not just to do a good deed, not to just drop off a meal. And good morning, Ann. Good morning, Marianne. Not just to drop off a meal, feel good about ourselves, pat ourselves on the back that we did a good thing, and then leave. But the objective for that was to to truly connect with the police officers, let them know that they are supported, that we appreciate what they do, and I mean, it's yeah, enough said. And then to make a connection, to make a genuine connection with the police officers. And so, we were able to do that, especially there were four of us who were able to deliver the meals to the police officers, to the police department. And the men and the women that we met when we were down there were truly grateful and encouraged and uplifted by the expression of the support. We got a tour of the police department. Assistant Chief Roca did a great job in showing us around and in talking to us. The Allentown Police Chief, Chief Granitz, came and wanted to meet us. We met a bunch of the other captains, a bunch of officers, and just an all around uplifting day for us. It benefited us, but you could tell that they were very grateful. And here's why I want to bring this up. We worked hard at making those connections. We decided, it wasn't just about dropping off a meal, but that it was being there personally and talking and chatting. So we did that. So here's the interesting thing, and I'm not going to share names, or nor am I going to share the whole story about multiple police officers, just because I don't want to break any confidences. But we left our coolers. We had food packed in coolers and grocery bags and things like that. We left all of that there at the police station. And I told the officers, I said, I'll be by tomorrow, meaning Wednesday, to pick up our coolers. And yeah, I agree, Anne. It was very humbling. And I know Anne and Mary Ann, maybe one or two other people heard this at the Wednesday night Bible study, but I'll repeat it. But so I had made arrangements. They gave me phone numbers to call to pick up the coolers. And so Wednesday I called and I said, hey, I'll be by. I'll pick up all of our coolers, etc. And the officer that I was talking to said, he said, how about if I bring the coolers to you? And, I'm like a lot of you, I struggle with accepting help from other people. And again, I think this goes back to this idea that I'm talking about, that a lot of the good we do, we really do for ourselves. And we have this selfish motive, whether it's about our guilt, our duty, whatever it is. And so we have a hard time accepting help for ourselves. That's one of the keys, I think. One of the keys that you should ask yourself about whether you do good to help others genuinely, or if it's about yourself, is ask yourself, how am I with accepting help with others? And if you have a hard time with that, it might be some indication that you really want to examine, your own soul. So anyway, I know that about myself. I know it's a struggle. So when he said, no, I'd like to bring it to you. I know where your church is. And he said, can I do that? And I said, sure, bring it over. I said, I'll be here. And I was sitting in my office, and I was watching the security cameras that we have to see when his car pulled in the parking lot. And I saw the car pull in, and I got up and I made my way to the door, and helped the officer to put the coolers, and we started chatting immediately. Again, he was expressing his gratitude, how much it meant to the officers. And we started putting the coolers in the church. And like an idiot, this is just so typical me, because I'm so much of a loner. And, we stood out in the parking lot, and this guy starts talking, and it became very clear after a couple seconds that the reason, probably a couple minutes, since I'm somewhat dense, it became very clear that the reason he wanted to drop them off here rather than me coming down there is the guy just wanted to talk. So after a couple of seconds of standing in the parking lot, because I'm thinking, hey, I'm here to help you, I said, hey, let's go in and chat. And we had a really wonderful opportunity to chat and connect. That was the goal of what we did. And I don't know why it took me so long to kind of recognize this. The goal was to establish connections. And this young man simply wanted an opportunity to talk. And it turns out he's a man of faith. He goes to another church. We had an opportunity to talk about church. So this is not the kind of thing where, our attendance is going to go up because somebody starts coming here. This was an opportunity to talk about faith. And for a young man to kind of unburden himself and share some of his struggles and share some of the hardships and to unload some of what he sees as a police officer and to unburden himself with some of what is going on, just the ugliness that's directed towards police officers. And, I recognize that this guy was simply looking for that chance to talk. And it came about really because of the lunch. And again, it goes back to, for me looking at the fact that, this is not something that we're trying to do a goody deed, pat ourselves on the back and move on, but that we need to do these kinds of things genuinely because of an opportunity that we have to serve and build connections. And, this comes because I've often struggled with some of the verses in the Bible, some of the statements in the Bible about this idea of doing good. I think of, the Bible talks about the fact that God loves a cheerful giver, and that joy ought to result from giving. And I've thought about the fact that so often in my life, the joy doesn't result from giving. It's more often for me, it's the burden of, oh my gosh, they're asking for one more thing. And there isn't a whole lot of joy in that. It's really a sense of how much more can I give? And so I struggle with that verse of it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. And God loves a joyful giver. I've often thought about, too, the parable of Jesus. Jesus talks about this parable in Matthew chapter 25, a great parable about judgment. And he talks about the fact that, I was hungry, you fed me. I was in prison, you came and visited me. I was naked, you clothed me. I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. And there are two groups of people. And one group of people responds by saying, when did we ever do that? And it struck me that these people didn't even know of the good that they had done. So obviously they were not people who were doing it out of a sense of duty and keeping a record of the good things that they'd done, because they didn't even know. The good that they were doing just resulted from their character and who they were. And then there's a second group of people, they ask the same question, like, when did we fail to do this? And Jesus said, well, every opportunity you had to do it for somebody else and you didn't, you were failing to do it for me. And that parable has always struck me because of that sense of the fact that they didn't even know, they weren't even aware of the good that they were doing, which is so different than often my own experience where, I do good and I'm aware of it. And I think, this sense of I'm getting a gold star in God's refrigerator in heaven kind of thing. But anyway, all that to say that, it is a lesson. It's an important lesson for us to ask about, the good things that we do. And that really when we do them, it's not about us. It's not about getting rid of some of our guilt. It's not about a sense of duty. It's not about, this is the next thing on the list that I need to kind of check off. But it really is a genuine sense of we do these things to express our love for God and express our love for other human beings in this case, to express our gratitude and our support for the police officers, and to make connections, to make genuine connections with other human beings, and then to see where God takes these connections. And in this case, God used what we did in a really significant way. And who knows what else will benefit from it. But at least for one officer, it led to the establishment of connections and an opportunity for at least one guy to unburden himself and to share the burdens and the hurt that this guy is carrying. And so it was a good experience. So thanks to all of you who helped in any way. Whether you were able to be involved in the connections or not, what you did through that experience meant a lot. And these are human beings, these guys, and these men and women. They're human beings, and many of them, I know, went into the opportunity to be a policeman, policewoman, because of a genuine desire to serve the community, to do good. I know that that's the case. I know some of them personally. And I know how they processed this early in their lives, because I have heard it from some of them as they processed it and started thinking about whether or not this was for them. So anyway, it's a good experience. Thank you all. Grateful to you for your help. Those of you who did it. I got the benefit of actually being here firsthand when this guy called and wanted to talk. But really, the thank you belongs to all of you who helped. And that's the kind of thing that, as our church moves forward, that is just so important for us to remember, that we do not do these good deedy things out of an opportunity to say, wow, I'm going to do it so I can get rid of some guilt, or I'm going to do it because of a sense of duty, or I'm going to do it because it's the next good thing that we have to do. But we do it because of love, and we do it to build real, genuine connections with other human beings. And so I hope as we move forward that is something that we can keep in mind. So anyway, on with Friday. Like I said, I almost forgot about doing this. I was sitting at my desk working, and like, holy smokes, I got to think up something to say really quickly. So let me pray for us, and then we can all get on with our Fridays. How about that? So let me pray. God, thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your faithfulness to us. God, I thank you, even just in looking at the comments, for how you've answered prayers in some of our lives, for Estella, for Pat, and for others. God, I thank you that you're present in our lives. God, I want to thank you for the fact that you're always in the process of transforming us and shaping us to be more in line with your character. It doesn't matter how old we are. God, we don't get to a place where you just look at us and you're done with us. But even, God, at my age, I'm thank you that you continue to teach me things, to shape how I think about life and you and myself and my place in your kingdom. God, I thank you that you have this eternal plan for all of us. God, I thank you especially for the opportunity we had as a church to be engaged with the police officers of Allentown. God, I do pray for these men and women. I pray, God, that you'd be present in their lives, even those who resist you, God. I pray they need wisdom every single day. They need to be the ability to make right decisions. They need the ability to act courageously, and to recognize that they're there to serve too. So I pray, God, that you'll help them. I pray, God, that you'll help this country through such a difficult time, especially as we think about police officers. God, we really need as our whole country, we need to do so much better with this. There's just so much anguish and so much grief. I think of what's going on in Kentucky, God, right now, and I'm not up on all the details, but God, I know that there's just heartbreak. There's so much heartbreak, so much turmoil, so much anger. Pray, God, that as a country, you'll help us to be a country that is truly interested in justice and in righteousness, and you'd help us to find a path to that. I pray for the family of that young girl. I pray, God, that I know that they're grieving, that they're heartbroken, and comfort them, please. I pray that you'd surround them with your church, with your people. God, thank you for the opportunity that we have had to do good. I pray, God, that you help us to be people for whom that never goes away, but that are expressions of doing right and doing good, that they would be genuine.
Call from Lansdale.
Hello, Praise in Church.